Hello, hello, you talented stars and starlets. It's your stage mom here, Chantele Francis. And if this is your first time on my channel, then welcome. Please subscribe right down over her. So this channel is all about finding new ways, tools, and tricks to level up in your entertainment career. So whether you are an artist, a performer, just someone creative, who knows, having an unconventional job, this is the channel for you. But if you're anybody else stumbling onto this, there's no accident, so there's definitely going to be a message of some sort in there for you. So today is Sunday school, and we're going to be continuing along in our book that we're reading. So we're reading The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. And so we're pretty much on about book one. So book one is Resistance. And kind of go through a little bit, like just the first few pages of Resistance. But I'm actually going to read you a little bit about what Stephen Pressfield says about Resistance's greatest hits. So this is kind of a list of all the different ways that Resistance kind of decides to weave into our lives. So you'll find it when you're trying to pursue any writing, any painting, anything creative, especially if you want to maybe learn something more spiritual, learning how to read cards or learning how mediumship. Like, it's definitely going to feed in if you're going down a spiritual journey. If you are trying to go on a diet, you are definitely going to be hit by some resistance. Anytime that you may be launching an entrepreneurial venture, something where you're working for yourselves, a really great idea that you have and you want to bring into the world, you're going to be met smack dab in the face with some resistance. Especially, it says, he's kind of funny, he's like, any activity whose aim is tighter abdominals. So it's, again, kind of reminding us about like exercise and working out and shifting and transforming your body. You're going to be met with some resistance. He says, education of every kind, you are going to be met with some resistance. Any act of political, moral, or ethical courage, including the decision to change for the better some unworthy pattern of thought or conduct in ourselves. So anytime it seems like there's going to be some big and major shift, so if it's a shift in the way of thinking, a shift in your body, a shift in bringing something new into the world, that's where it seems to be the pattern of where resistance is going to show up. Yeah, so he says the undertaking of any enterprise or endeavor whose aim is to help others. So if you are going to go out there and do something, a really big thing, if it's going to be to lead a bunch of people to stand as the face of, a charity of some sort, or to be a person that's in the forefront, that's taking on a leadership quality, you're going to be met with a lot of resistance, because you're going to be shifting from who you are right now, and you're going to have to become somebody else in order to stand in that new environment, that new vibration. And so that's where resistance is being met, is when there's going to be an energetic shift that is so tremendously huge. It's not a little increment, a little bit of here, a little bit of there. No, it's like a major transformation is happening, and that's where the resistance seems to want to creep in. What else does he say? Any act that entails commitment of the heart, decision to get married, to have a child, to weather a rocky patch in relationship. And in that sense too, like, if you're going to be changing who you are to become in a partnership, or if you're going to bring a new life into the world, everything is going to shift, change, and be completely different than what you know right now. Like, resistance it's kind of like holding you back from change, from the unknown. It's just making it difficult for the unknown to come into your reality. And we know, though, that it's kind of like resistance is it's fear. It is just fear. It's just stopping you because you don't know what it's going to look like on the other side. But as we know, on the other side of fear is all of our greatest dreams. So we could also kind of say on the other side of resistance is all of our greatest dreams. which I think is actually really true. So what he also says, what I think is really, really important, is resistance is any act that rejects immediate gratification. And so there seems to be, the pattern is that with things that there's resistance to, it's not something that, you know, a get rich quick scheme. It's not like take a magic pill and shred 30 pounds. No, it's nothing like that. It's something it's like a work in progress. It's like it's the long game. It's like, you know, that you're going to be completely different from here to there, but it's not going to be like that. There's going to be some work, some effort to go into it, but the shift is going to be so major, because the person that you are right now and the person that you'd have to be for whatever that dream is manifest, that is going to take a lot of, well, not a lot, but it's going to take work, and you are going to have to allow yourself to change. And that's where the resistance come in. It's the separation from where you are right now to where you hoped and intend on being. So there's a few ways that he kind of speaks that resistance kind of shows up, kind of its characteristics. So the first characteristic of resistance is that it's invisible. So you can't see resistance, you cannot smell resistance, you cannot taste resistance, but it's always there. You can feel it though. You can feel it. It's like, oh my God, my nose just started like running. Is that resistance some way? Sorry, it just watery. I'm sorry. So it doesn't, you can feel it though. It's like an energy pull or push or like a block. It's like, it's very strong and forceful, but it's not something fully tangible in the three-dimensional reality. He says it's a repelling force and it feels negative. And that's really true. Like sometimes you're just kind of like, sometimes people will feel this resistance and think that it's actually a no, and it's actually the universe saying that they shouldn't do something, or that, you know, this is their sign that they needed, that it's the wrong avenue for them to take. But actually they're being fooled by resistance, because this is how it's showing up. It's showing you up in a way that will allow you to make it stop you in your tracks and preventing you from doing whatever this major transformation that is going to occur in your life. So its sole job is to push us away and distract us from doing the work that we are meant to do. And he mentions that it arises from within you. So it's not like, it seems as though it might be a force from on the outside, but it actually is something that comes from within, which is really interesting. Another way that resistance shows up, another characteristic, is that it's insidious. So it kind of shows up in a gradual way. It's not like a big smack in your face, like here's some resistance, but like it's kind of like, it has like tact. It has different nuances and ways of showing up and dancing, that it's able to disguise itself from what it's actually, who it actually is. It's like a shapeshifter. It's not obvious that it's showing up, but it's there, and it's ready to derail you from what you're supposed to be doing. And so it's he's really funny. He's like, he believes that resistance is always lying and resistance is always full of shit. And it is really true. When I think of all the times when resistance come up, even this morning, I was like, I've been doing my best to do some sort of exercise every single morning. And when I woke up today, I was like, oh, well, I have to read a script for my class. So I will I'll maybe work out later. But if I don't work out later, then it's okay. But didn't I make it a commitment to myself to work out every morning? And why did I rationalize and make it okay that I wasn't going to be working out anymore? So that's how I'm learning now from reading his book, is that's how resistance turns up sometimes for me as a very rational arguer, you know, the opposition giving me rational, realistic, decision-making assistance into things that I can do to prevent me from doing something that's going to be really great for me, that I'm going to be really happy with the end results 2 months down the road. So that's how resistance showed up for me today, is making excuses for doing something that I want to do for the long-term goal. Resistance is also implacable. It cannot be stopped and cannot be reasoned with. And that's what I seem to do with resistance, is I reason with it. It's like, and it's kind of like well, if I give it a he, but resistance always ends up winning, because if you, for however you do not do what you're meant to be doing, that is giving up to resistance. That is allowing resistance to have its power, being able to overcome you. Because its only job, resistance' only job, is to prevent us from doing our work. That is its nature. And if you think of resistance like, you know, all the different laws of the universe, you can understand the next point is that resistance is impersonal. You know, it doesn't it just attack you and prevent you from doing what you're meant to be doing. It shows up for everybody, no matter where they are in their, you know, their careers. If they are at the top tier level of wherever their career responsibilities and their career life is, even if they're at the top, they can still be met by resistance. It shows up within everybody. If you have a human body, human form, and you have a functioning mind and have the aptitude of wanting to do more and do better and shift, change, grow, etc., make money, whatever it is that you want to be doing, resistance is going to show up when there's going to be a major transformation of some sort that you need to get through from A to B with a major transformation. Like, it's going to happen no matter what. So know that, like when it snows, or there's a snowstorm or a hailstorm or a tornado or hurricane or tsunami, whatever these big forces of nature happen, it's not personal. They don't choose to attack a certain person specifically. It is just what it does. It's just like gravity. Gravity does what gravity does. In other videos, I talk about the law of attraction. It's always working. It's attracting like energy to you and bringing you more of what you are vibrating. It doesn't have any sort of personal vendettas against anybody. It just does what it does. And so if we remember that about resistance and not being like angry with it, just know it's something that is always going to come up, and it comes up for everybody, then it will make us feel a little bit better about the fact that, like, chances are you're going to be dealing with resistance for the rest of your life in some capacity. Resistance is also infallible. It will always point us to what we're supposed to do. So that is really, really indicative of how we can use resistance to our benefit. Whenever we realize that we have decided to not do something, or postpone, or procrastinate, or give ourselves a reason why we're not doing something when we intended to, then we can probably see that it's something that we really should be looking at. And I feel like the top performers in our society, whether it be in the entertainment industry, athletes, whatnot, are those that are able to overcome resistance on a more consistent basis. And that is really what the separation is. So whether the form of resistance that most affects you is procrastination, well, the people that are able to move past this resistance of procrastination, they end up completing that screenplay. They end up writing that novel. They end up, et cetera, et cetera. You get my point here. So this book, I hope it gives us the answer. How do I overcome resistance other than a Pomodoro timer or whatever? That's one way that I've learned that I've been able to help with resistance is, you know, setting aside a certain amount of time with no distractions just to do some work. And so if you want to implement that into your life as well, I more than welcome you to give that a go. It does 25-minute segments. You can change the time segments of like direct focus work and then you get a mini break, and then you do it again, get a mini break. And I think after you do it 4 times, you get a long break where you get to scroll on the computer if you want, do those TikToks, whatever it is. But it's just making sure that you're focused for a certain amount of time to get that work done. And what I have to say is you do end up feeling really, really good when you get into the habit of being focused and not distracted and not allowing resistance to creep in. Anything else that he says? So yeah, we can use it as a compass. So let's, for this week, be noticing any time where resistance checks or sneaks in and kind of derails us from anything that we want to do. Just take a look. Like, it could just be as simple as you wanted to make fresh juices and you decided you're just going to have a glass of water instead, or you're going to go buy a juice instead, or just not have any juice at all. Like that, even in itself, like if you were going to make some fresh juice and you did do so, there's a form of resistance there. And so maybe you have to look at, well, maybe I need to have some of that juice. Let's work through that resistance and let's make an effort to have that juice that our body seems to be craving because we wanted it. And the last thing, kind of to leave on a positive note, is resistance is universal. So I kind of mentioned this already, but everybody that has a body will have to endure some form of resistance. It is within all of us. And so take comfort in knowing that you're not alone on this journey through resistance. And on the other side are going to be all your greatest dreams manifest, I promise you. So homework or home play for this week is to take an observational look at when resistance kind of shows up in your life, and just kind of make a list of all the times that you put off things that you're supposed to do, and then we can talk about it. So leave some messages in the comments as to these things, and yeah, we will work on it, work through it, and by the time we get through this book, we are going to be resistant free for a bit. I don't know. And make sure you maybe download a focus timer. I use Focus Keeper. It's for a Pomodoro timer if you want to try to do some segments of focused work. So I hope that this video has been informative. It's making you see a little bit more about resistance and how it affects you and affects your life. I'm really enjoying this book, even though I've read it before. Like, it's reminding me, like, hey, there's actually a bunch of things that I've been putting off. So I might have to hunker down and get her done. I'm going to get her done. I'm going to do it. Resistance is not going to stop me, and it's not going to stop you either. I would love for you to subscribe down over here. If you like this video, hit that like button, ring that bell so you can be updated every day when I leave another video on YouTube. And other than that, I hope you have a great week, and I will see you in the spotlight. Take care.